Wow. I don't usually use the gavel, but we have a lively group today, which is very good. We have a full room and I would like to call to order the Board of Library Trustees for the Arlington Heights Memorial Library. I would like to call to order our board meeting for this Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Burrell?
Here.
Trustee Hall?
Here.
Trustee Kelly?
Here.
Trustee Meadow?
Here.
Trustee Rule is currently absent. Trustee Zick?
Here.
President Samari?
Here. Could we all please stand?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tonight we have 4 candidates that will be running for trustee for the library board in our April 1st elections. So Barbara Watts, Darnell McClaney, David Weiner, and Daniel Youssef are all here. So we thank you. There is another candidate and he did not come tonight. We had Executive Director Mike Driscoll and I had a casual meeting with the candidate, asked some questions, and it was just a nice chance for them to ask kind of what we do, what our issues are, and that sort of thing. So we're happy to have them, and we have some staff members that I think are going to present to us tonight as well. So with that, do we have any public comment? Did you receive any? No. Okay. How about liaison reports? Do you have a report from the Friends?
Yes, I do. Okay, Friends didn't have anything to share this month, but they did want to continue or recognize the continued support of the library. And they wanted to send a big thank you to Rich Dorian and IT staff for all the help on email account changes and programming the new Wi-Fi credit card scanners. So that's what we have from the Friends. And
how about
Foundation?
the foundation?
Okay, the foundation's second annual International Women's Day event sold out last week at 100 registered guests. Their development committee has worked very hard to create a unique event on women's self-care. The Bookmobile Campaign Committee has been meeting the last few weeks to finalize a talking point brochure on the need and use of a bookmobile for our community. The foundation is working with library staff to make sure their message is consistent with the library. The quiet phase of the campaign has begun with the public phase kicking off in June. Stay tuned, updates to follow. The scholarship committee is reaching out to expand their coverage with students this year, and they are printing our the flyer in Spanish as well as English. And they are still working on aligning the LCD screen, which is located on the main floor of the library, with their web posting of their very generous donors. The LED screen is updated quarterly, and they're personally working with the volunteers to fix any current issues. So Lori says she's always available if you have any questions.
Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, I saw on social media that their event sold out really early, so that's great. And it looks to be a really interesting night. Okay, I would like to hear a motion to approve the minutes from our regular board meeting, which took place on January 21st, 2025.
So moved.
Can we have a second? All right, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Moving on, I would like a motion to approve the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting from February 3rd, 2025, with the one correction that the meeting was adjourned at 7:32, not 8:32. So thank you to Eagle Eyes Trustee Burrell for that, and also a shorter meeting than usual. So with that change,
I thought that needed to be.
yes, excellent.
So
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And now we've had a lot of meetings. I would like a motion to approve the minutes from our joint meeting with the Arlington Heights trustees and, our library trustees. And I was happy that we were all there on February 8th. So we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So moving on to the financial report for the period ending January 31st.
Okay, there was no real estate tax revenue recognized in the month of January. The library received personal property replacement taxes of $23,402.61 this month. Our copier printer replacement, or I'm sorry, our copier printer revenue totaled $3,762.89. Meeting room fees were $125. Lost item charges totaled $1,390.30. January interest income was $14,188.04. Donations totaled $208.30. The Friends of the Library reimbursed us $1,405.88. Revenue collected for vehicle stickers totaled $236. Makerspace miscellaneous revenue was $649.22. And other income was $2,428.55. The total revenue collected in January was $47,876.79. For expenses, 8% of the fiscal year has lapsed, and we have expensed 12% of our total operating budget. Note that in the early part of the year, contractual services expenses for annual renewals are typically higher than the rest of the year, yielding expense percentages greater than the lapsed annual percentage, just because we front load a lot of those contracts. Commodity expenses also trend higher at the beginning of the year as we pay for annual electronic resources. And 3% of the total annual capital budget has been expensed as of January. That is everything I have for the financials.
All right.
Yes.
One of the things in the revenue, I was curious about, 83, the other donations library. So we've got an annual estimate of $155,000. So for this month, it was estimated $12,900, but we were only at $208. What, I don't remember, what was that other, what was it that was making the other donations so big?
I'm not sure. Is Tracy here? Oh, there she is. I see my brother. You know, is that just evenly split over the year for the?
So month by month, for that large number in the budget for January, it's just 1/12 of the total annual budget. What's in the total annual budget? I would have to go back.
It's 165 or 155,000 for the year, I think. So it's just split evenly over 12 months.
So it will represent everything that like the Friends
Yeah.
will reimburse us for. So that would be the largest portion of what runs through that.
But there is a line here for other, Friends of the Library reimbursements and other
Oh,
foundation
yeah. No,
reimbursement too.
No, sorry, you're right. I was thinking in terms of the expense side. So yeah, I would have to go back and see
Okay.
what's in the budget, but
Yeah.
the January portion is just 1/12 of the annual.
Okay.
That's all the donations.
I wonder if that's part of the donations that we have received that we are planning to spend this year.
That could be because we do have deferred revenue sitting on our balance sheet from trust donations. So to the extent that we were planning to use that, I can't remember what portion we were planning to use, but like you right, it might be around like $90,000, in which we would then recognize that revenue. So we probably budgeted to recognize it when we use it.
So it'll catch up throughout the year.
Okay.
Thanks, Tracy.
All right. How about the check register?
Okay, I have a few checks to recognize this month. On page 2, check 103654 to AHML Foundation in the amount of $97.52. This was reimbursement to the foundation for a Women's Day event donation meant for them, but was mistakenly submitted by a donor to us. It was a $100 donation minus the fees that we incur when we receive it. So this has happened before where people think they're donating to the foundation, but they're actually donating directly to us. And so we are writing a check to the foundation for that amount. On page 10, check 37886 to M&J Technologies Direct, totaling $126,849. That is cost related to the replacement of the critical servers in our data centers as budgeted in 2025, since our previous servers have reached the end of useful life and support for these will no longer be offered. This was the server system that the board approved about a month ago. I believe at the last meeting or 2 meetings ago. hardware costs for the servers themselves will be capitalized, while software support and maintenance costs come out of the operating fund. So some of that money comes from different funds. It's not all coming from capital. On page 12, check 39400 to AHML. Those are AMX charges for $93.99. That's a restock of diapers and wipes for Kids World supplies. So that's not part of the diaper drive, but that's just supplies that we have on hand for parents if needed. On page 14, check 30614 to Village of Arlington Heights in the amount of $3,009.19. That is for water, sewer, and fuel costs. There was a question about the meters in the library, the water meters. Per the village, the meters inside the library are commercial meters, and they're very expensive and have much longer longevity versus the home meter that you may have in your home. They get tested by a contractor periodically, but they will not be replaced as part of the water meter replacement program that the village is currently doing. On page 19, check 38240 to Libraries First in the amount of $957. That is the 2025 Museum Adventure Pass subscription. This year, we doubled the number of passes available for AHML cardholders due to the popularity of the passes last year. In 2024, we issued almost 500 passes, providing access to 20 different attractions across the Chicagoland area. The top two attractions were the Chicago Botanic Gardens, which we handed out 125 passes, and Brookfield Zoo, which we handed out 157 passes. General admission to these are about $30 and $15 per person, respectively. The Museum Adventure Pass admits 2 to 4 individuals at no charge, which resulted in a savings to our customers of over $15,000 just for the 2 biggest attractions. So we make quite an impact with those.
That's
museum
great.
adventure
And I know we
passes.
promote it heavily, and we should, because that's super helpful to people.
Then on page 23, check 36179 to ProQuest LLC in the amount of $13,334.41. That is a full year subscription to Press Reader, which is a digital product that provides interactive access to nearly 7,000 of the world's best newspapers and magazines. Researchers can browse articles, perform keyword searches, and save content using their user-friendly and customizable interface. Then on page 45, check 37505 to Illinois Heartland Library System OCLC, the amount of $16,586.74. That is quarterly costs for our participation in OCLC, which stands for Online Computer Library Center, which provides shared technology and cataloging services for member libraries. Those are all the questions I had. Anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah. Is Arlington Heights getting all their books from Amazon now?
No, I think we still get quite a few through Baker and Taylor in Midwest.
You having the problems with Baker and Taylor?
I think so. Okay, I believe they were lagging a little bid in deliveries
no,
and
it's-
street dates and stuff.
You know, Naperville and Skokie are leaving Baker and Taylor.
Are they really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
that's what we heard because of the problems. I won't go into all that, but we have sent kind of a terse, but we still want to work with you, but we need, they don't tell us what the problem, they're not being transparent. Let's put it that way.
With Gail Borden, is that right?
Well, with all libraries.
With all, yeah.
And we have an in because our division chief of access services knows one of the big wigs very well.
Yeah.
And so you think at least, no, we don't. So we know a little bit, but not the whole story.
We'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
I move, the board approve the accounts payable check register for the Arlington Heights Memorial Library for January 31st, 2025 in the amount of $1,007,757.10.
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Brown? Yes. Trustee Donna?
Yes.
Trustee Kelly? Aye. Trustee Nettles?
Yes.
Trustee Rule? Aye. Trustee Zip?
Yes.
President Smith?
Aye. All right, executive director's report.
Okay, looking at this month's director's report, starting on the first page, the library hosted a partnership event with Have Dreams Academy, which is a workforce training program for adults with high functioning autism. Senior and Accessible Services Interim Manager Katie announced a library tour and practice interviews for the program participants, or organized, I'm sorry. Staff from multiple departments supported this outreach visit, including Community and Circulation Services Supervisor Megan, who helped lead the library tour, our Human Resources Generalist Gabby, who presented information on our hiring practice and job search tips, and our Acquisitions Supervisor Marie, who joined the other AHML staff to complete practice interviews with the students. And then below that, teachers from District 214 Center for Career Discovery visited the library to learn about services and resources available with their AHML Educator Library cards. Youth Outreach Specialist Amy and Info Services Librarian Lynn hosted a group of 14 teachers presenting on school services, helpful databases for their students, and more. On the next page, our Info Services staff, Diane and Stephen, collaborated with Maker Place Branch Assistant Manager Chris to co-host the Chamber of Commerce Before Hours networking group at the Maker Place. In addition to networking, 24 chamber members learned about how the Maker Place can benefit their businesses. Staff collaborated to host a second chamber networking event last month called Blast. Attendees, including myself, prepared meals for 50 people for Journeys, the Road Home, which is a nonprofit organization that provides shelter, counseling, and resources to end homelessness. Then on page 4, our winter reading registration has increased significantly from last year. The library's winter reading program brightened 775 participants' dark winter days from December 16th to January 31st. This was a 42% increase from last year's registration. 47% of participants completed the challenge, reading for at least 20 days during the program. And on the bottom of the page there, new this year, Programs and Exhibits is offering monthly game nights to foster social experiences and connection for adults with shared interests. Programs and Exhibits specialist Emily launched the series last month with a night of board games. 50 adults enjoyed playing everything from classic to newer board games. The event offered an opportunity to get to know the wonderful selection of games the library has in the Library Things collection, while also encouraging attendees to bring anything they wanted to play from their own collections. And then on the next page, Youth Services staff hosted 3 Girl Scout troops at the library last month. Troop leaders worked with library staff to determine which badge option would be the best fit for their group. Library staff presented the related activity and led a tour of the library for each visit. 39 scouts earned a new badge, learned about library services, and received a special sticker commemorating their visit. And then on page 7, the library's new 20s and 30s program series kicked off in early January with 90s and 2000s TV trivia at the Empty Corner. 38 attendees in their 20s and 30s joined Programs and Exhibits librarians Emily and Nikki for a fun night of nostalgia and competition. The monthly 20s and 30s programming is intended to give this age group a space to meet each other and connect through fun social activities. Staff are already seeing a community being built organically, and they're thrilled to be connecting with this audience.
Where did this take place?
The Empty Corner, it's basically like an open hall that people can rent for parties and stuff like that. It's kind of, I think it's right behind Subway.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Arlington.
over
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
Up around Village Road?
Right.
Yeah.
And then on the same page below it, Barb, our Info Services librarian, hosted a research hour table in partnership with iCash, an initiative of the Illinois State Treasurer's Office. During the event, 30 community members were assisted in recovering a total of $3,500 on unclaimed property or funds. And then Lynn, our Info Services librarian, collaborated with IDES on a job fair, which welcomed over 100 attendees. Attendees distributed 187 resumes, leading to 43 on-site interviews, 39 scheduled interviews, and 27 job offers.
That's really impressive.
That is everything I have for the director's report. Anybody have any questions about anything or want to highlight anything on this?
Yeah.
Jen, sorry.
No,
Okay.
go.
At the bottom of page 2, I just wanted to call out the, talking to the St. Viator students about the databases. I love that. That makes me so happy that they're learning about databases and not just going to Google or
Yes.
Wikipedia. So bravo.
Right.
I do have a question. I'm just curious, the winter reading program with the increase there, 42%. Do you know why that happened or why do we feel yeah, it was that much growth.
Trixie, do you want to try and address this?
Well, Dana's
Oh.
not.
I'm joking, I love it. I mean, I do think that the graphics were really engaging. I think it's just increased traffic through the space, compared to, last year when we were just finishing up the renovation.
Okay.
So I think it just, we saw that increase because of that.
Because I know we're doing a lot more advertising and marketing and these type of things, and it's great to see, when these type of programs are constantly increasing, so. I just wanted to kind of highlight that a little bit, I know you did, but bring it out even more,
Yeah.
because that's, you see numbers like that, that's awesome. I think you're doing a good job.
Graphics are really good.
Yeah, I think the department overhaul, or refresh probably helped quite a bit too, pulling more people into the department, so.
Yeah.
Any questions?
One more thing, sorry, on that same page, page 4, the readers party. I just want to call out, I went to that and the speaker who was supposed to be there canceled last minute, and just so great that the staff was able to pull it together at the last minute. Like, I would have never known if they hadn't said something, so it just shows what pros they are.
That's cool.
I think
That's good to hear.
that's-
I'll pass it on.
And I was gonna say, I feel like there's such actual, like, demonstrated value, 27 job offers, that's huge. And, $3,500 unclaimed property, the museum passes. So I know we all do it every single day, but reminding people all the value that is at the library and how they can save money by coming to the library and using our programming. And then the other thing that really struck me, obviously we're out in the community all the time, where people are, but I know that as we did our survey a couple of years ago, it is really difficult for agencies and just everyone to reach 20 to 30 somethings, and some of the different things that we have, from the game nights to this, and also at like a cool kind of hip new place in Arlington Heights, I think is really helpful. So hopefully that will bring more people in.
I have one more thing to highlight. I just wanted to call your attention to the dashboard, the second page of the dashboard at the bottom. We've kind of like improved one of the areas that we were reporting on, that's the program spending, giving you a little bit more information about what that spending looks like. We did remove the program rating. We were getting program ratings from customers for the last 5 or 6 years. That number really never changed. It was always like 4.8 out of 5. And so we felt like that is not really a helpful statistic to put in here, and therefore felt it would be more useful to have some additional information on the spending as to what we're doing with programming. So just wanted to call your attention to that.
I'm wondering if, since this has become, 3 pages now, is it possible to have page numbers on the back?
Sure.
All right, this is great. Anyone else? All right.
Okay, then next up, I would invite Rebecca King and Allison Parker. Trixie, I don't know if you're participating in this as well, or you're just here for moral support. All right, to provide us with a presentation regarding the Family Place initiative.
Moving this, so we don't step on it.
No, what do you think?
Oh,
And
yeah, it is off, never mind.
we're just gonna get set up here so we can.
Yes.
Get it, no, so, yeah. In there.
Oh,
Just close. No, just close that. Okay.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, board and guests and everyone. My name's Rebecca King. I'm services supervisor here at the library. I've been here 7 years now. It's been my anniversary last month.
And I'm Allison Parker. I'm the early learning librarian. I've been here for about 2 years.
So what is a family place library? We're gonna get into it a little more details, but simply put, it's a structure where we put families first. And emphasis is on the littles, the younger kids, giving those families a great start. We're gonna break it down a little bit as we go through this, but that's everything in a nutshell. This is the Family Place Library website. This is an organization that's been around since 1998. So they've been here quite a while. They have over 500 libraries in the country that are certified family place libraries, and there's a whole checklist of things we had to meet to get the certification. We are the second library in the state of Illinois to receive this certification. Yeah. And then, so who do we serve? Whoop. Sorry, there we go. Okay, who do we serve? Yeah. Like I said, the emphasis is on littles, babies, toddlers, preschool. And we know that the kids don't come to the libraries by themselves, right? They come with their grown-ups, whether it's mom, dad, whatever the caregiver is. We see a lot of grandparents and hired caregivers, whether they're nannies, licensed daycares, babysitters. So there's a lot of grown-ups that come with those littles, and that's a big part of what we do as a family place library to meet their needs and help them along. Allison's gonna share a little more.
Yes.
Families.
I wanted especially to highlight this photo of our preschool night that we held at the beginning of the month. We had 40 tables, staff or table, presented by different preschools, childcare centers, and other just supportive organizations for ages 0 to 3 or so. And we had over 100 people attend in addition to all of the people, tabling. And we definitely think of childcare providers as part of our population. Our childcare providers definitely need support right now. Over the pandemic, we lost 10% of preschools and childcare centers, and they did not come back. So that's just something we're very aware of. Childcare workers are pretty underpaid. Thank you. And speaking of money, while childcare providers are underpaid, it's also an expensive proposition for families. Costs are very high. This is data from all of Illinois. You can get a sense of how much people's independent, family income is going into childcare. And as a family place library, we know that caregivers, including parents, grandparents, and nannies, childcare providers, turn to the library as a supportive, free, accessible, and safe space that also provides a lot of stimulation and high-quality learning opportunities without necessarily screen time. In addition to the cost, availability is also a big challenge to families. Arlington Heights School District 25 is classified as a preschool district, which means there's an insufficient number of publicly funded slots in our local daycares, childcare, preschools to serve at least 80% of children from low-income families. It's easy to think of our Arlington Heights as a pretty affluent community, but there are people who definitely turn to the library to support them and kind of fill the gap of the resources that they're not necessarily getting. Finally, I just wanted to say that our parents and family members are stressed out. This is national data showing that parents report they are significantly more stressed and feeling the effects of stress than non-parents. 41% of parents say that they are so stressed out most days they can't function. The library is a family place library. We are a come as you are place. It's a low risk outing. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have to stay too long, but you can. So they do. We try to make it a place you can stay for a long time. So those are some of the challenges we think about as we serve our families.
Child development, we need to know what's happening with the littles so we can serve them and we can help their caregivers. 80% of their brain structure happens in those first 3 years. It's huge. And we're so grateful to be a part of that, helping those littles develop in any way we can. Or I was gonna say, with the story times, no, wait, I'm sorry, I got thrown out there. Oh, yeah, sorry, definitely with story times. So when we do plan our story times, there is a purpose to everything we do. We have people that often volunteer to present a story time. We politely decline because there's a lot that goes into planning it. We pick every book, every song, every rhyme. Everything we do is with intent and purpose to make that a good experience. We want to help the little ones learn. We want to make it fun. And we know we're also reaching the grownups in the room. Every grownup in that room, it's really important that we build that connection with them. So instead we get into a little more specifics. What is Family Place Library? These are the checkpoints that the organization looks for when they're evaluating and certifying, and we've met all the checkpoints. We're done. It's a done deal. We've got our official banner. True. So this whole process started late 2017. The former staff member, Maria Papanastasiou, she started it. It was kind of her baby for a bit. She went through the training. I joined a few months later and built it up with her. And Allison is now a huge part of it, leading the Play, Learn, and Grow workshops. And all the programs that we do. I'll tell you a little more about those. So how do we do it? Programs, a lot of programs. It's definitely a way which we love doing. These are a lot of our regular story times or extras that we sprinkle in throughout the year. We know our customers love our story times. We hear it every day, and we're, again, so grateful to be the ones meeting them where they are in their family development. We've got all the ones for the littles, and then we try to also offer them in the evening and sometimes on weekends for better accessibility. We know not everybody's available to come during the weekday. So we want to try to make sure everybody gets a chance to experience some of what we have to offer. And a big thing about with our story times, we want to meet them where they are developmentally. So we do plan certain things for baby time or for toddler time. We have a schedule and a routine because we know that kids learn better when they feel safe and secure, and schedule provides safety and security. Would you guys like to see a little sampling of our toddler? No. All right. So we have a favorite that visits in toddler time, in many of our story times, but definitely toddler time. And I'm going to ask you guys to help me. All right. Hi, friends. I'm so glad you're all here today. Wonderful. It's so good to see you all again. So let's get ready to wake up Dewey. Are you ready? All right. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and you're going to say in your outdoor voice, wake up Dewey. And you know what? It's okay to be loud in the library. It's okay. We don't mind at all. All right. And if you're a little worried about the noise, just cover your ears. It'll be quick, I promise. All right. Okay, you got to be loud. Here we go. Count with me. 1, 2, 3. Dewey loves story time. And excuse me. He loves the kids. Oh, no, the kids aren't here. They're all at home. He wants to go back to sleep. I think that's he really likes the kids. So that's just a very small sample of what we do in our story time, and the kids love it. It's about building connections with them. They love coming back. They love meeting Dewey. They love getting close to him sometimes. So that's why we do it a regular schedule. Thank you for participating with us. And behind me, if you got a chance to look, we wanted to share I mentioned what we do, there's a reason behind it, there's a method to what we're doing. And those are some of the reasonings for what you guys just did. If you were toddlers, we would have made a whole bunch of new brain synapses. Some of our other programs, we continue with our long established and successful reading programs. 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten is a year-round program. As we mentioned already, our summer and winter reading programs are super popular. Since working to become a family place library, we added the Welcome Baby library cards and the Welcome Baby tote bags. We've got one that's slipped down there. When they get their card, they come show it to us at Kids World. They've just connected with a staff member. We give them the book or the bag, we show them everything that's in there, we offer them a tour. It's all about building those connections with those families as soon as they come to us.
Emmett was 2 weeks old. when he got his-
It might be the youngest one, I don't know. And more programs, so we've got the programs for the littles. I learned that a lot of people don't know youth services, we program for adults all the time. We try to make it kid friendly, like this is a first time parent meetup, but this is for the grown-ups. We talked about the 20 and 30-year-olds meeting up and finding friends and peers. This is first time parent meetup, so they get to meet new parents with their littles. We have the village nurse that comes with us, Allison hosts it, and they get to meet other parents in the community. We've been doing this in one version or another and some of the other programs for a good 5 or 6 years. I've seen the result from parents who started with us 5 years ago. That little one is now in kindergarten, and the grown-up and the family are still friends with the families they met at one of our library programs. I've seen the results, it does work.
In addition to programming that typically happens in the library, we also are building relationships outside of our walls through outreach. We have a really robust outreach program, reaching out to our local preschools and childcare centers with story time visits, and or resource bags delivered to them. Rebecca has built up the educators open houses, inviting preschool teachers and childcare providers to come in and see what the library can do for them, how they can support and network and meet some of the library staff. And I especially want to highlight this program it's a partnership with the Women and Children's Center, which is a program run by District 214. Teachers are providing new immigrants English learning language classes, and simultaneously providing childcare and child education for their children. It's a very popular program with a long wait list. And the library partners in that once a month, we send our outreach specialist to the center to have a story time with the little kiddos. And then also once a month, the families, caregiver and child, come and do a field trip at the library where they get a little taste of our typical story time and early literacy rich environment. But they also are learning about the library. We don't know what the background of our new families is, how familiar they are with American libraries. It may be a completely new idea. So just teaching them some fundamentals about this is a free place, this is a welcoming place, this is a place you can bring your children, this is a place where you can take home resources for free. Those are some of the messages we're trying to share. Also wanted to shout out a few of our resources. Yes, part of being a family place library is having many different types of formats and collections. I wanted to point out especially our early literacy kits. We have one in person over here. They're stacked with thematic books, some manipulative game, toy, and tips for caregivers, like rhymes or suggestions on how to use the items in the kit. Toys, high quality toys for kiddos is expensive, and it's definitely a wonderful service that we provide via collection services to offer not just books, not just online resources, but toys, puzzles, literacy kits that people can take home and play with. We also, part of the Family Place Libraries program gives us access to Parent TV, which is an online database of short, high-quality videos on parenting, child development, those kinds of topics. So our parents have access to high quality vetted information that isn't just the Wild West of YouTube.
All right, spaces, that's a big part of being a family place library. With our department refresh, I think you're all here and part of that whole process we went through. Oh, it's been wonderful. Thank you. It's been so great. Now, as soon as families enter Kids World, they know this is a place that knows kids. And my child is welcome here. I feel safe bringing my kids here. Again, we've just built a connection with them. They know that we care about kids and we want them to have a good time here. We put a lot of thought into the changes that we were granted. The imagination station is wheelchair accessible. It could be changed easily. The baby garden, safe zone for kids to play in. The Everbright, they can stand in front of it, sit in front of it and easily manipulate it. Again, kids with wheelchairs can roll up to it. It's very easy to work and play with. They're loving it. Go to the next one. Yeah. In our story time, we've already had some accessibility items available for families like the wobble seat cushions. We want to make it even more accessible for everybody as a family place library. We now have a microphone system we all use in story time that we make sure everybody in the room can hear us clearly. We can be pretty loud, but the microphone really does help. On the board there and here, this is what we call a visual schedule. This helps the kids know generally what's coming next and helps them prepare.
Parents too.
And the parents, you're right, yeah, they need to know. Of course, part of our refresh, the floor projector, they're just loving it every day. This was a class who came in, I happened to snap the picture from, I think it was Forest View maybe. And so, they just show up sometimes, which is great, we love when they're here, we always stop to chat with them a little bit. And these students, there's 3 students sitting on the floor, she said aren't very interactive with anyone, they're usually very quiet. They don't use their devices a whole lot. They gravitated to the floor and we're engaging with the floor and it brought a tear to my eye that this is something that these kids were able to connect with. So I talk about our space really making a difference. It really has. Oh, and our staff, oh my gosh, I need an hour to talk about our staff. So I did a mini unofficial survey with everybody in YS. I kept pulling them aside to ask them, I want to know, how many years have you worked with kids in and out of the libraries? So I got all those numbers together and then I was looking at education and stuff. So I was a little blown away by the finals. This doesn't include all our subs. So among our 22 staff, we have well over 450 years of experience working with youth in one way or another. Preschool teacher, high school teacher, whatever. 150 years, all of us, okay? More than 30 bachelor degrees and 15 master degrees. So when part of the family place library, one of their checkpoints is that you have a trained staff, got it. And there are people who are so committed and dedicated to making this library, the whole library, for everyone and for all our families. Yeah, one more, what do we got? Where are we? Almost done. Okay, oh, this is a good one.
So the last piece of the puzzle is the family workshops. That's a requirement to be a family place library. We branded it as the Play, Learning, Grow Family Workshops. This is a 5-week series that families register for. We run it twice a year. And the library provides a big space. We use the big Hendrickson room. We have invested in toys and we provide different kind of toy zones. Playful activity prompts, and things to explore. Some of the signs here are posted in the room to help the parent connect the play with the purpose and the learning that's happening. And then most importantly, we contract specialists, resource specialists from the community to come in and not present formally because it's child directed. We want the kids to be leading the show, moving around the room at their own pace playing. The specialists are coming in to engage with the families one-on-one. So they're working the room and sharing their expertise. We bring them in on a variety of different topics. We've had music therapists, nurses to talk about health and nutrition. We've had therapists come in to talk about mental health with kiddos, physical development, speech development, parenting coaches. And then early literacy, we always have an early literacy specialist, which is one of the librarians, Mia Rebecca, in addition to the 4 contracted people who come in. And the resource specialists are the most important part of this because the goal is absolutely, yes, play is important. Come in, you know, bring your kiddo for some great high quality experiences. But we also want to build a community, connect people with the resources that are right here in Arlington Heights or nearby, connect with each other and connect with the library. So it's all about that connection and community.
Yeah. And all of the library is a family place library. This is not just youth services. When our families enter, we see them a lot of times 9 a.m. They're waiting for facilities, usually Clinch or Gabe to open that door, and they always greet the families. When they're at the checkout desk and the circ staff is interacting with the littles, all the signages and posters we need comes from graphics and collections, building these departments. It really does take the whole library to make this happen. This is the cutest picture ever. So, yeah, just that's baby getting their brand new library card. And, oh yeah, can't the bookmobile. I mean, everybody, just assume, I mean, everybody helps make this happen. If you guys have any questions for us now, please, we hope we can answer it.
Yeah, well, first I want to say this is amazing.
Oh,
my
thank you.
goodness, there's so much going on and I live close by, so when I pop in, I can tell you there's so much going on.
Yeah.
I am wondering, like, what are some of your, you do everything so well, but like, what is your biggest challenge or what do you wish we had that we don't, or you could have, or I mean, I'm sure your family's changed and they're growing and like as a mom, I remember coming here a lot, but when you have that second kid and you got 2 in strollers or 3, or that can be challenging for parents, but obviously you deal with that all the time.
Absolutely. Well, siblings are always welcome, right, to address the tail end there. So if they're coming for a baby program or baby time or toddler time, the older ones, they're always welcome. We don't exclude them ever.
We give them their own baby.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. Oh, boy, as far as what we want, let me think about that and see how I can tell you what.
Yeah, how can we support you, I guess is my question. But think about that.
I think a lot about what populations don't know about the resources here. We see lots of families come in and a lot of repeat customers, right, who are coming in time after time for our programs. But I wonder, who in the community doesn't know that this is a place for them, or has a barrier, right? Doesn't have transportation to the library or doesn't know about a bookmobile, so. That is always.
But you do have such a strong relationship, obviously, with the preschool or daycare or babysit, and those people, especially if it's a preschool or daycare, they certainly lead people here.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. We've seen a lot of the nannies and babysitters bring their friends
Yeah.
and pull us aside and say, can we get rain to toddler time? So yeah, they definitely are networking amongst themselves. Yeah, 100%.
I'll just add that one thing that we're really excited about exploring this year is taking the Play Learn Grow on the road.
Oh, yeah.
So thinking about reaching those underserved and bringing the services out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe taking one of those 5 weeks, at least one of them somewhere out in the community.
Nice. Right.
Rebecca, Allison, thank you. It's funny you mentioned 2017. 'Cause I remember when this first started talking about this. It's amazing to me that it was that long. I knew it was years. It's taken a long. So just after going through this presentation and seeing your enthusiasm too, thank you for sticking with it until we got to this. A couple things you said kind of hit me, and Allison, I think you said about this being a preschool desert, and I think you were talking about it specifically for people who are economically challenged and things like that, right? Okay.
We do have a lot of preschools comparatively speaking to other suburbs, but it's about the publicly funded programs and the publicly funded seats for, you know, that are held aside for low income families.
Okay, yeah, that was really interesting. I'm trying very hard not to get a campaign with you right now, so.
But not to mention, it is an affluent community, we know that.
Yeah.
But there are pockets that need help.
Right, okay, this is
Yeah.
definitely the type of things that we need as a community, and those stats that you just, you know, went by there, you know, the people and how, well, difficult it is for some people. Are we taking this? Are we being more reactive with this or being proactive? And what I mean by that is, are we waiting for people to come into us who are having these issues? What are we doing going out? And when I looked at your list of people that you're, organizations you're working with, which was a very all-encompassing list, there's one that wasn't there that kind of stuck out to me. And that was what made me number of them actually with our types, the school districts, you know, 25, you know, all those. Have we reached out to them and worked with them for their families?
Absolutely, yeah, and I kind of. Our school districts have run their own preschools, so I think I kind of like lumped those in with the 20 to 30 preschools we're kind of working with at any given time.
Right.
But yes, I think we're kind of familiar with them from their preschools. But we have a great relationship. We have 3 dedicated specialists who focus on outreach.
Right,
And a lot of that is school visits.
right. And they're looking too, at which schools aren't using us and why. Absolutely. And how can we get in there and let them know we're available? I think just recently we had, was it the Japanese? Yeah, we've been trying to connect with and they responded. And for whatever reason, maybe they're just busy. Who knows what's going on the other end? You can never assume. So when they do say, yes, we'll come. Yeah, we try to pull out all the stops. But our outreach team definitely tries to reach out to them. With the preschool, the educator open house, the first one and the second one, we're not inviting just the ones that we visit regularly or just the ones that submit book bag requests. We're inviting every licensed preschool and daycare in the area to attend. And then it's up to them if they want to follow up. And then next time we'll try again with something else. Just keep trying.
First, thank you very much. Excuse me. It's always, I enjoy these presentations and just, I think I know something and then I'm surprised and just impressed with dedication. And just, I remember Dewey from my, I mean, yeah, I have 3, but even from, I don't even, anyway, it doesn't matter. So I was ready, so really just the point is more just commentary on and gratitude because it has been long lasting through you know, just personally using the library and baby time and even back, I think the library was just even the kids was on the other side, like for my oldest and then the youngest, the play and just how important that is being in the mental health field. It's so critical and it's so impressive when you were presenting Dewey and the background of all those things, like that excites me, seeing that, like, it is the regulation, we need that, we need these subtle, soft skills that for so many of us, we take for granted that raising children, working with children, okay, it's just children, you know, anyone can do it. But it takes, you know, a special person and knowledge and intention, that word, you know, that you use intention in everything you do and it shows. And just another comment with the community partners, just being familiar with many of them, but I'm on the council for Birth to 5 and you've come up in, the library has come up in meetings, just the board, I should know what this is. We've been in so many meetings approving it, thank you. But just, I mean, and again, when it's North Cook region, we're talking, I mean, all across Hanover Park, and we're talking all over, know the Arlington Heights Library. It's in the Facebook group that's, hey, we went to this library, we come here, drawing from all over, especially families that would not have known. So it's what you're doing is reaching far and wide and making a difference. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing. We've had Birth to 5 team come as a family library or the learning grow resource specialists.
I have two questions, and I thank you as well, and I love your passion. You talked about that 5-week workshop. What is the time breakdown of the 5 weeks? Like, how long are the kids like playing, going and rotating? Is it once a week, twice a week? What is the 5-week scenario?
It's once a week, so we pick a day and a time frame. It's an hour and a half. It's typically been Friday mornings for just 5 weeks. This year, we're trying an afternoon just to see if we get, if there are a different population who might not be available in mornings to come. Yeah, it's a very relaxed situation. People to get, can kind of trickle in late, leave early if they need to. Since everything has got a different schedule and.
How many can you accommodate? Is there a max?
We've upped the max to 50, it is a registration program.
Right.
So 50 people total, which is typically about 20 to 25 families. It's a lot of pairs and then a few families with 3 or more. Not everyone can come every single week.
Right.
That's the goal, but inevitably things come up and things come into play. So we typically get around 40 people total.
So the goal is for those families who register, when they can, they'll go through the 5 weeks together and build those connections. Like Allison just mentioned, they can't always make it, so if we've had parents just show up at the door and can I come in? And yes, yeah, we explain what it is and what they might have missed, and maybe the nurse is coming here today. If you have any questions, she'll be, sitting on the floor playing, feel free to ask her. Yeah.
Great. And I'll ask the other question that people probably want to know. What is the first library? I just want to know for geography purposes. I'm wondering where it is as a state.
Yes, it is Evanston.
Evanston, okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question.
Well, thank you so much. I know.
Amy, Amy, I have one more question. Sorry, this is a quick one. Do you need to recertify or like, how does that work?
Great question. They do not have to come back and re-inspect us or anything. It's just a simple paperwork process annually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, I know that when people come with their littles, often that is their introduction to the library, especially if they're new to Arlington Heights or they both work downtown or whatever. So you get them here and we'll keep them here.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to old business. Next up is the approval of the 2025 Illinois Public Library Annual Report.
Okay, so we discussed this at the February 3rd committee of the whole meeting. This is the completed IPLA report for 2024. If you guys have any additional questions that didn't come up at the committee of the whole, I'd be happy to address them now.
I'll make a motion. The Board of Library Trustees approves the 2025 Illinois Public Library Annual Report for 2024.
May I have a second?
A second.
All right, let's do a roll call.
Trustee Burrell,
Yes.
trustee Bella,
Yes.
trustee Kelly.
Aye.
Trustee Nettle,
Yes.
trustee Rule.
Aye.
Trustee Zick,
Yes.
president Smith.
Aye. All right. On to approval to fly the pride flag in honor of Pride Month in June 2025.
Okay, so this was brought forth by a trustee, a request to fly the pride flag in honor of Pride Month for June for this year. This was discussed at the February 3rd committee of the whole meeting. Also, the one change from the committee of the whole meeting to now was staff provided the image of the flag just for clarification purposes. It was described, but we just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page as far as the flag to be flown. So this is the same flag that we've flown in previous years.
All right, may I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Library Trustees approves the flying of the pride flag in honor of Pride Month in June 2025 in accordance with policy 7.007, use of flags on library property.
Any discussion?
Second.
Second, okay, let's do a roll call, please.
Trustee Burrell?
Yes.
Trustee Gallo?
Yes.
Trustee Kelly?
Yes.
Trustee Meadow?
Yes.
Trustee Rule?
Absolutely, yes.
Trustee Zick?
Yes.
President Smart?
Aye. All right, and moving on to approve the proposed revisions to policy 7.003, which involves soliciting or distributing materials on library property.
Okay, so this was another topic that we discussed at February 3rd Committee of the Whole meeting. This is a change to policy 7.003, soliciting and distributing materials on library property. There were two questions that came up at the meeting that I wanted to follow up with here. The first one was under section 1, solicitation is prohibited. The third line described where outside the entrances, where solicitation would be prohibited. In discussion felt that maybe it was a little ambiguous as to how we were describing that. I went back to the attorney and we discussed a couple different options and came up with this verbiage. It's anywhere that interferes with uninhibited ingress, egress to the library buildings. The thought was if we put like 25 feet from library entrances, that would be it would be disputed, and how do we, is that just a number we're kind of pulling out of thin air? So we felt that really getting to the point of, we just wanted to ensure that people could come and go from the library easily. That was the one change. And then there's also clarification based on the discussion about signs that would be put in parkways and if that was legal or not. So we just had a blurb here from the village website about signs in the parkway and that it is a violation of code to put that there. So just to clarify that question that came up at the meeting.
Any questions?
And I think we probably had solved it here with the verbiage that the attorney came up with. But I know that when you go to vote, that you're like, if you're advocating for a particular candidate, you have to be a certain number of feet away. So I'm wondering if that verbiage, sometimes we steal verbiage from other sources, like if that is kind of in line with what this says too.
It's not, and we didn't want to put a specific number,
Okay.
like a number of feet from the door. Really, we wanted to get to the point of, we just want to ensure people could come and go from the entrance. We do follow that rule when we are a polling place.
Okay.
I think it's like 250 feet from the door or something like that.
Mhm.
And that is, we have that marked off and stuff, but this we felt was a little bit different.
So when you're acting as a polling place, that sort of supersedes.
Correct.
This. Okay.
The county.
Was it?
County.
Yeah.
All right, may I have a motion?
I move the Board of Library Trustees adopts revisions to policy 7.003, soliciting or distributing materials on library property.
Second. Let's do a roll call, please.
Trustee Burrell?
Yes.
Trustee Gallo?
Yes.
Trustee Meadow?
Yes.
Trustee Rule? Trustee Zick?
Yep.
President Smart?
Aye. All right, do you have other?
I do not have other.
Okay, I have a couple little others. I read this week that Chris, Eddie, John, Melissa, Neil, and Nikki won first place in team trivia once again. So, just saying the library is the place to go for trivia in Arlington Heights. And also Barb at 35 years, Lena at 20, Larry at 15, and Becky at 5 years. Congratulations to all of those staff members. And I attended a virtual, like a webinar about trustees and social media. And I know that they just sent out information about another one. So I would encourage you to go to it if you have the time. It was about an hour long. And they had all the slides. We've talked about this because we kind of thought about it regarding our Facebook, which the library uses essentially as like a bulletin board where we plot our meetings and Art with Elaine and maybe some story times. So I think we've really thought about it and we're doing everything right. The one thing that I guess I took away from it is if you have a personal social media page or, you know, Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever, and you post things on it, it is considered your personal, you know, information, but it never hurts, and it just seems like a wise thing to put sort of a disclaimer, like when there's the about section, I could, as part of my about, I could just write everything on here is my personal opinion, so that there's no confusion that what I post on my personal Instagram is the library's point of view on whatever. And also, like, if you had a Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever, you don't have to like friend everyone. So not friending everyone or not being friends with everyone is okay when it's your personal thing. Obviously, it would be very different if we had a trustees of the Arlington Heights Memorial Library. If we had that Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, then we would have to friend everyone. But on your personal page, you don't. So those were kind of my highlights, but it was worthwhile, I thought. And it did reinforce all of the discussions that we've had on the issues. And I felt like maybe some of the smaller libraries or libraries in different parts of the state hadn't had those internal discussions. So, all right,
I
yes.
just have a question. Do we, with those museum passes, reciprocal, you know, or not so reciprocal, but do we with the ARC offer passes, like a week pass? Or
No, not with the park.
Yeah, the
District.
park district,
No.
yeah. I knew it wasn't museum, it's how my brain works. I was like, in my head, so,
Yeah.
okay. Just thinking. Okay, thank you.
I feel like that's been asked, I mean, like someone brought it
I don't
up
know, that's
once.
why.
I wonder if they would.
We can ask them. if they-
I think it would be
Yeah.
worthwhile, or even a day pass.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you know, maybe it doesn't work with their,
Every time you check out a book, you get 1 day at the Arc.
what?
Yeah.
The circulation.
Right, you go left, that's correct, right.
Yeah, well, 1 lap and
It's a prize for adult reading.
Someone steps in.
APR.
Yeah, like check out a pass. I don't know. It might be too capacity, might be.
Yeah,
Just thinking.
Good idea though.
yeah. All right, well, I would like a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming, all of our visitors.